Okay, folks, this is your chat session. So today, as we all know, we are discussing Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. Correct? Uh, are you all excited? I don't see. I want to see excitement faces. Right? Have fun. This is a book that you all love, and this is something that I'm sure you're all the experts on this, right? So my role is to get you experts, all of you, on the same, onto the same screen, and then we can talk about the book a little bit. So as we talked about it, right? Why don't we go ahead and introduce ourselves? Vivant, you want to start with you?
Hi, my name is Vivant. I'm 11 years old, and I think I started reading Percy Jackson a couple years ago.
And yeah, go ahead, Manan.
Hi, my name is Manan Bardawaj, and I am 12 years old. I like the first book of Percy Jackson because of the endless suspense and action.
Okay, Krisha.
Hi, my name is Krisha Bhatt. I'm 11 years old, and I love Percy Jackson because of the action in the book and the movie, and I started reading it a few years ago.
Okay.
I'm Aditya Kaushik, and I'm 11 years old, and I started reading Percy Jackson about a year ago, and I liked the first book because it was like a new world of something I was never introduced to.
Okay. So we will spend some time just trying to talk about the book. What does it really mean? Some good aspects about the story, some good things that caught your attention, things like that, right? So Adi, we will start with you. What do you like the best in Percy Jackson?
Probably how Percy. There's always like something more to the book, just not like And they also left you on like cliffhangers, so they also wanted you to like read more of it, and that also made me read more of it. And it was very interesting, and I never really knew about Greek mythology before Percy Jackson.
Wonderful. Krisha, what do you think? What do you like? What aspects do you like in the book? What are the key things that you like?
So in Percy Jackson, I like how everything is really exciting, and it's like you want to know what comes next, and like it's so like it gives the character entertainment. And I like how Percy, Grover, and Annabeth, all three of them go on a fun adventure. Yeah.
Nice. Manant, yourself?
I like the suspense and the action in it. Also, like it also had humor in it too, mixed in with all that to make it like very enjoyable to read.
Vivant?
So yes, I like the action, but I also liked how it was a combination of like modern day and like ancient myths and stuff. So that was a little cool. They used like ancient concepts.
Yeah, one of the things I like is, right, you can relate to the fact that they are going to Las Vegas, they're going to Hollywood, they're going to multiple places, right? Which is all the real life. When the whole book starts off, it's all in the real world, and then you're taken into the fantasy world and got back to the real world, right? And then there is an overlay of the fantasy world over the real world. So very interesting concepts. And Manan, I like your thought process, right? Not only was it mysterious, but it was also humor. I think I like that too, quite a bit. So before I go in, does everybody just like Percy Jackson, or is there a separate character that you came to love as you started to look at the book? Anyone, if you can speak, whoever wants to speak, just go ahead and say, okay, unmute yourself and talk. Is there a specific character that you fell in love with? Aditya?
I mostly just liked the book. I didn't really have like a favorite character.
Okay. Krisha?
I liked Annabeth because she was very fierce and athletic.
Okay. Manan?
I just like Percy Jackson because he was the main character.
Okay, Vivan?
I didn't have like a favorite character in The Lightning Thief. I kind of like the entire book overall.
Okay. I like Medusa. Did you guys not like Medusa? No? Okay. 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 So one of the key things I wanted to understand, right, as you go through this book, something that I found very interesting is that it's an adventure journey. But let me ask you this question, right? Apart from Percy Jackson, how many of you read Harry Potter? Okay, so let me ask you folks, right? Is there a comparable thing to the Marauders map here? Is there a map that is used by these folks to find out exactly who is going where, or something similar? Their entire journey, do they go through a map? Okay, where do they find the pearls? In the book, it is given to them by Vivan?
The Nereid in, I think, St. Louis.
Correct. And where is it? And who gives them the pearls in the movie? Vivan?
They use a map and they have to find
Correct.
the different
Correct.
pearls.
Correct. So the thing that and if you watch the movie, right, suddenly you see that there's a map in the movie, and they use the map to go to find the pearls. While in the book, the pearls are given to them from in the ocean, right? The other thing I wanted to understand, as you look at this whole book, right? First thing, what hit you? Were you surprised about the Greek gods? Were you surprised about some of the way the Greek gods got portrayed? One of the things that comes is, did you ever, as you understood Zeus or Poseidon, right? Did you expect them to be portrayed the way they were in the book? Anybody can answer.
I didn't expect Zeus to be like mean and whatever. I
Okay.
expected he's like the king of the gods, whatever. I expected him to be like a king, I guess.
Okay. Krisha, you wanted to say something.
Well, I didn't expect Poseidon to be that nice because,
Yeah.
like, in other books, Poseidon is really angry and mean.
Okay. Any other thoughts, Manan, Vivan? Okay. So as you started to read the book, right, and I started to look at the thing, the first thing that hit you was, the character was introduced. You knew that he had dyslexia. He had ADHD. So how did you start relating to the character? I think we lost Krisha. We should be getting her back. How did you, while we continue with that? So how did you relate to the character as you started reading more and more about Percy Jackson? So one of the key things is, did he have the powers to start with? So how did you feel this whole event by event where welcome back, Krisha. So how did you feel? Yeah. So first of all, okay, let's go back. When was the first time that Percy? Let me not do that. So how did you feel as Percy started? You started realizing that Percy had powers, and these were the reasons that he was. So did you go in thinking Percy had powers? So you started reading the book, and then slowly began to realize that Percy is powerful. How did you feel about the whole thing? How the book was built? Everyone.
So when I started reading, I didn't know anything about the book, so I was a little surprised at the whole powers thing. And then I was a little curious about it because I'd never really heard anything about Greek mythology, so I didn't know about like Poseidon or anything like that. So it was kind of interesting to see what his powers were and where he got them from.
Okay. And did you feel excited when you first realized that he had powers? Any one of you? Now the main character of the book is now beginning to have superpowers. Right? So the other thing I wanted to understand here is when we look at the book itself, right? The whole premise of the book, whether let's say, first of all, what made Zeus think that it was Percy who actually picked up the lightning? lightning bolt. Krisha?
So, Poseidon and Zeus were having a big fight. So, Zeus thought that since they were fighting, Poseidon must have stolen it, or
Okay.
he must have told somebody to steal it for him.
Okay. Vivan?
So yeah, like Krisha said, Zeus thought it was Percy because Percy's dad was Poseidon, and only a demigod could have actually taken it, the lightning bolt. So he just thought it was Percy because Hades doesn't have any kids in the book, so that leaves Poseidon.
Okay, fair enough. But let me ask you a question, right? Zeus is a very powerful god. How could somebody even steal his lightning? Did you ever think about it? Does it make sense? I'm just trying to think through, and I wanted your opinion. Like, the whole idea is, okay, he is a very powerful god. How could somebody come and take his main weapon away? Manan?
Well, the person who did take it was guided by Kronos, so that might be one reason that they could have succeeded.
Think about it as we think through it. Vivan, go ahead.
Also, I think the lightning bolt was stolen when Zeus was like in a meeting with the other Olympians, so it would have been in a different room or something. And also, the person who stole it became invisible when they did it, so no one could see them.
Perfect. But did you notice the fact that between the book and the movie never clearly explains how the lightning bolt got lost? Well, the book tends to explain a little bit, right? So that's one of the key things that I keep thinking through, right? Because as we read these books, we are imagining a world, and that world is, because remember, when you read that book, what you imagined Percy Jackson, what you imagined as the whole story setting, obviously it got color when the movie came out, right? And you started watching it as how somebody else perceived it, right? So I wanted to get into that a little bit. Like, when you looked and talked about a minotaur, right? How did you visualize a minotaur? And how do you see that visualization now being represented in the movie? You saw both. I'm assuming that you also saw the movie, right? All of you? No? Okay. So I think it's time to look at it and see how a minotaur actually looked like in the movie. So first of all, how did you imagine a minotaur? Any one of you? Aditya?
So I imagine it being like a tall creature with like, it looked like scales on it, and like two big horns coming out of it, and like kind of big here so it could hear really well.
Okay. Krisha? How did you imagine a minotaur?
Well, in Greek myths, mostly two animals come together, so like they must have been two animals, because like sort of one may be a mountain goat because mountain goats have like really long horns, and I think it may have, like, as Aditya said, horns and scales and stuff.
Okay. Vivan?
In the original myth, the Minotaur was born from a person and a bull, which I don't get, but it's kind of like a reverse satyr where it has that, like, I was picturing it with like a head, like a bull's head with like horns and human feet or something.
Wonderful. So this is where I want us to, as we read through the books, right? I think the reason, this is my personal opinion. I wanted your thoughts also, right? When you're reading a book, the entire world that you see is all in your head, right? You're creating how it looks based on the description and everything else. As you started reading the Percy Jackson book, right? How did you imagine the world? How did you imagine the camp? What helped you imagine the camp? Yeah, let's start with Vivan. Vivan was the first one to raise.
So there was like a lot of descriptions of the places, and also like the 12 cabins.
Okay.
And I knew a little bit beforehand about the gods, so when they explained, this cabin has this stuff, it made more sense to me. So
Wonderful. Manan, you had something.
I kind of based it off like a regular camp, and I thought of the cabins like an actual cabin, like in real life.
Okay.
So yeah, that's how I like perceived it.
Okay. So you were really you were actually relating what you saw in real life and what you can imagine in the book, right? That makes sense. Krisha, you want to say how did you imagine the world?
Well, I think it would have been very modern, and I think the cabins, like, they would have symbolized the gods, so they may have like different things that symbolize that this is the cabin of this god.
Okay. Makes sense. I think that is actually wonderful, and in terms of things like that. So a couple of things. I wanted to step into a kind of a round now where each one of you is essentially asking a question to somebody else. So who wants to go first asking their question to the rest of the team? Who wants to go first? I'll have to pick a volunteer. Okay, Manan is going to go first. Okay, good. That I like the spirit. So Manan, I'll give you 10 seconds. Just think what is the question that you want to ask and ask it to the rest of the team members and make it a tough one.
Okay. Why was Annabeth very scared of spiders? Vivan?
Hold on to that question, okay? Any other question? Not the questions that you think you're going to ask your other team. It's a question that you're asking to everybody else.
Okay.
Okay, let me kick it off, right? And then maybe you can ask each one of your questions, right? Question number 1. What is a combination of a goat and a man? What is it called? The legally correct name for that. Krisha?
Is it a satyr or something like that?
Do you folks agree with that?
Satyr.
Okay, I'll hold it. Does everybody else agree that is what is the answer? Okay. And that's correct. Obviously, it is Saturn. So, by the way, what was the name of the first centaur that Percy spoke with? Let me ask Manan.
Chiron?
Okay. And what was his name in the real world?
Mr. Brunner?
Mr. Prana. Okay. So now, Vivan, can you ask a tough question to the rest of the team?
Okay, let me think.
Think for a moment. All of you think something that you think only you can think of. It's a very tough question that none of our other people can answer.
Okay, so in the book, what was the name of Percy's school that he went to?
Yeah, it is for you, Vivan, to ask, give an option to somebody. I'm not the moderator here. You are the one who's going to ask whether it's Krisha or Manan.
Krisha, I guess.
Is it Yancey Academy or something like that?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So next one, who's going to ask the next question? Krisha.
What was the cabin what cabin did Percy stay in after his Olympian parent was determined? The number of the cabin. Manan?
Number 3?
Yes.
Okay. Number 3. Okay. Next one. Aditya, have you thought about it? Nice, tough question.
It's kind of tough. It's not really relevant though. What's Percy Jackson's mom's name?
Hold that question. That question cannot be asked.
Oh.
Think about it. Vivan, you think about it for a minute. Vivan, next. You ask the question.
Actually, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
How did Percy realize that the lotus flowers were keeping him in the casino? Vaughn?
He asked somebody the date and realized that they thought they were still in another decade.
Oh, I thought it was, yeah, true.
Okay. So now that leaves with who's going to ask the tough question? Manan.
Who made Ares' shield trapped? Aditya?
Hades?
No.
Okay. Anybody else? Any other question? Answer? Okay, Manan, I think you'll have to give the answer to everybody else.
It was Hephaestus. 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 I can't say the name.
Okay. One more question for me. Who pushed Percy's head down the toilet? Okay, I think I saw Vivan's hand come up first.
Clarice LaRue, and then Percy exploded the plumbing with his powers.
Okay. Could you repeat the name again? Clarice, right? What's the name?
Clarice LaRue.
Okay. Who is Clarice? Krisha.
She is the daughter of Ares,
Okay. And who is Ares?
the war god.
The war god, okay. What role does Ares play in this whole book? Vivan.
So he figures out who stole Zeus's lightning bolt, but he keeps the bolt for himself and tricks Percy into bringing it to the underworld to start a war.
Okay.
And fails, but
Fails. Did Ares get defeated any time by anybody in the book? Krisha.
Ares got defeated by Percy after Ares stole Hades' helm, like one of Hades' like powerful objects, and he defeated him, and then Ares gave him a curse.
Okay.
Nice.
Nice. Okay. So as we continue to move, we are going to move into what is called as the quiz round. So there were two teams that we formed, right? What are the two teams? Team Olympians, right? And Team Zeus. Can I have a show of hands? So who is the Team Zeus? Team Zeus, and then the rest is the Team Olympians. Okay. So we are going to go through a round of questions where we'll start with Team Zeus asking Team Olympians a question, and let us see whether they answer. So who is going to keep the record? So I'll keep the record for now. Who is going to be going through the thing? And okay, we're going to have a nice round and maybe an extended round of this quiz. So while you're answering some of these questions, think about what else is possible. And I'm actually seeing, I wanted to take one moment. There are a lot of comments coming in from us. So first, let me look at, oh my God. This is something that somebody said. Pick up this, okay? This is very cool. Then Anjum. Then this is good. This is nice. So I just wanted to share some of the. Oh, she corrected it. Obviously, it's Olympus. Then there's one more. They're saying, go everyone, go Krish. A lot of comments. So we'll share that as we come to the thing, okay? But before that, let's get into the quiz round. And you're seeing all the chats, right? You're seeing the comments, all of you. Okay. So let's move to the next one. We will go into the quiz round. We will start with Team Olympus asking the question. So let's go to the first question. Team Olympus. You're going to ask a question? Manan.
How did Percy's mom get rid of Smelly Gabe? Prisha?
So, Percy got a package when he came back home from Olympus, and I think that box had Medusa in it. So when she showed it to Gabe, Gabe obviously turned it to stone.
Yeah.
And then she sold it to an art gallery.
Yeah.
Okay, so we award 1 point to Team Zeus. Okay. So Team Zeus, you have to ask a question to Team Olympus now. Go ahead, Aditya.
What was Percy's mom's name? Yvonne?
Sally Jackson.
Yeah.
Okay, now you know why I said why this was the question. I said you have to hold on to that question because that was a part of the quiz question. So now, what is the counter? What does it say? Team Olympus 1, Team Zeus 1, correct? Okay, so let's ask the next question. Team Olympus asking the question. Who's going to ask the question, Vivan or Manan?
I don't have the questions right now, so if
Manan, you have it?
Yeah, I have them.
Okay, go ask the question.
What was Luke's intent when he gave Percy his magical flying shoes? Prisha?
It was a curse to make him go down to the underworld. The shoes were cursed, and they made him go down to the underworld in Tartarus, where Kronos was, so Kronos can defeat him.
Yeah.
Okay, this is getting interesting. So we have Team Zeus 2, Team Olympus 1. Now it's up to Team Zeus to ask a question. Krisha, go ahead.
What was the satyr who helped Percy in school and on his quest? Vivan.
Grover.
Yes.
Okay, so that's 2 each, Team Zeus and Team Olympus. Man, this is going to get exciting. One of you has got to falter. Okay, so we'll ask for the next question. Team Olympus asking the next question.
Who was Luke working for? Aditya?
He's working for Kronos.
Yeah.
Okay, Team Zeus is doing very well. Then next for them to ask the question. Who's going to ask the question, Team Zeus? Okay, Krisha, go ahead and ask the question to Team Olympus.
Why was Kronos against Olympus? Manan.
Because his son cut him down with his own scythe and then took over the earth.
Okay, now this is getting, is it 3-3 each? Okay, so Team Zeus 3, Team Olympus 3. Let's go to the next one. Who's going to ask? Team Olympus asking the question now, right? Okay.
Why is Annabeth very scared of spiders? Prisha?
Because her and Arachnid, I think it was a spider, her mom and Arachnid were like battling each other, and like they I think Arachnid won or something. So she's scared of spiders.
Yeah. Oh, she held a grudge or something. Yeah.
Okay. So do we award the point? She's answered it, right?
Yeah.
Manan?
Yeah.
Okay. So Team Zeus 4, Team Olympus 3. Now it's up to Zeus to ask a question. Go ahead, Aditya.
What was the name of Percy's teacher?
Vivan? Oh, sorry. You asked the question. You are sorry, Aditya. You have to choose. Is it Vivan or Manan? Whoever is going to answer.
Vivan.
Vivan.
So there were two. There was Mrs. Dodds, and there was also Mr. Brunner.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's 4-4. Come on, guys. One of you four. Okay. This is getting, I would say exciting, or this is getting nail biter. Next, the last question. Last question. We'll continue with the questions till one of you fall. Anyway. So, Team Olympus wants to ask a question to Team Zeus.
Okay. What were the signs of Percy being the son of Poseidon before he discovered it? Krisha?
Well, at his camp, they were playing capture the flag, and when Percy got he got hurt, he went inside the water, and the water healed all his cuts, and then that's when he sort of realized that he was the son of Poseidon.
That's one of them. There's others too. Aditya?
In school, he used to go to the pool a lot, and he said that was the only place he could like really think.
Okay.
Manan, so we award them the point, or full point, half point, quarter point?
Well, there's also like the incident with Clarice, and he also excelled at canoeing. So I don't know.
He also threw a bully into a fountain at school or on a field trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the way, if the audience is keeping track, I want a comment saying that what is the current standing in terms of Team Zeus and Team Olympus. Please go ahead and send in your comments. So we will not say the numbers right now, but Manan, you're awarding a full point to them, or quarter point, 3/4 point? How much are you awarding?
Half point.
Come on, they answered 2 questions here. Fair enough. Do you think it's fair to, Krisha, Aditya, do you think it's fair to get half a point, or?
Yeah, technically, because there was like 4 answers, so 2 of them was half.
Okay, fair enough. So they get half a point. So while we wait for the comments of the audience, let me state this thing. Team Zeus 4.5. Now Team Zeus is going to ask a question to Team Olympus. Krisha.
Who was actually Mrs. Dodds?
Ooh.
Vivan.
Oh, one of the 3 Furies of the underworld.
And why was she after Percy?
She was after Percy because Hades sent her because he thought that Percy had also stolen his magic helmet thing in addition to the lightning bolt.
Yeah, and also I remember them saying that they made a promise that they would not allow any more heroes to come down to the earth and stuff. And so Hades was also mad that Poseidon and Zeus broke their promise and oath. So I guess probably because of that too.
Okay, so how much would you award, Krisha?
Well, they got part of it right.
So how many points would you? Is it a quarter point, half a point?
Half a point, I guess.
So it's now becoming a nail biter, 4.5 each.
But that was 2
Because
questions.
there is actually more to it.
Okay, so we will now get a couple of one more other question, and then if we can't have something, then we'll have some tiebreaker questions. Okay. So each one of you can ask one additional question to the other team because you're evenly matched right now. We will start with Team Olympus asking a question to Team Zeus. Vivan.
So in Camp Half-Blood, what is another name that they use for the Furies?
The questions are getting tougher. Should we have a ticker? Countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
I mean, I know what it is, but I just like forgot it. I know that they don't call it the Furies exactly. It's the something.
Is she close, Vivan? You want to give her a couple of more seconds? By the way, Aditya, while you're thinking, think of a very tough question. Think of a very tough question that you're going to ask them, okay? Krisha, time to answer.
I have no clue. I forgot. I know it's the something.
So, Vivan, why don't you go ahead and give the answer?
The Kindly Ones.
Oh
which
yeah,
is
I
ironic.
forgot. It was the. Oh yeah.
Okay. So now Team Zeus has to ask. So again, Team Zeus remains at 4.5. Now the opportunity for Team Olympus to surge ahead and win the whole round. So think of a tough question to ask both of you that they cannot answer, because if they answer this, they win the quiz round. So I'm giving you maybe a little bit more leniency. Think of it, maybe 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Think of a very tough question that you can ask them.
How many times? I have a question.
Go ahead.
How many times did Percy have to go into the big house?
Okay. I think Vivan has an answer. Krisha, you want to let him? It's you. You have to say. Go ahead, Vivan.
Okay. What is your answer?
Don't know if this is correct, but 4 times?
No, incorrect.
Okay. So let's start the countdown. 10, 9, 8,
Wait,
7.
is it 3 times?
No.
By the way, you get only one more choice. Okay, you cannot keep guessing different numbers. Okay. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay, Vivan has an answer.
Okay.
I don't think it's 6, so 5 times?
Nope.
Okay. Okay. So, Krisha, you have to give us the answer.
It's 2 times.
Wow.
One when Percy came to camp and he got injured from the Minotaur battle, and in the end of the book where Luke let out the scorpion, and it like sort of when he killed it, he got like there was poison all over him, so he had to go to the big house after.
Okay. There is a what you would call out there or a defense. Go ahead.
But didn't he go 3 times? Because there was the first time, yeah, when he went to camp, when he first got to camp after the Minotaur attack. The third time was after Luke's scorpion bit him, but the second time was when he went back and Chiron told him to get like a prophecy or whatever.
That no, like the big true, but not. I didn't mean it that way. I mean like how many times like Percy got injured and he had to go inside.
No. I think I'll have to
You
give
said
it.
how many times did he go
Go on
in?
to the big house. That's the question, Krisha. I understand
true.
that. Okay. Okay, which means after a reappeal of the round, do I have to give it to Team Olympus the quiz round? Krisha, it's your call.
I don't know.
But did they answer it right? If you were asking them how many times he went, did 3
Yeah,
is the
in total, yeah, they were correct. But like how many times he went and he got injured, it was twice.
okay. You did not mention injured, so I'll give it to them right now. So
True.
I think that is fair enough. So this round, quiz round, goes to Team Olympus. Congratulations, folks! It was a very nail-biting game, but I think this was good. Did you guys enjoy this round of quizzes?
Yeah.
Okay. So, by the way, if there are a lot of comments coming in as we're talking, so let me go. Oh my God! Look at this. Somebody said it was yes Olympus, and then one more comment here. There are people getting really excited, and then Team Olympus has got a point. Great round. Look at the people who are commenting. Okay, this is all great, and I'm getting a lot of comments. I cannot give every one of them, but you can see them. You can see the comments that are coming. But this is good. So next, what we will do is, if you want to ask our audience any questions, you can tell that to me, and we can put that in, and they can answer it. So you can just go ahead and talk about a question that you want to ask the audience. We can go ahead and type it in, and then they can answer it when they want it. So you want something to ask the audience? Any tough question? Go ahead, Krisha.
So when Annabeth gave Percy the drink that he took after the Minotaur battle, what did Percy say it tasted like?
So when the question is when Annabeth gave a drink, right?
A drink.
To Percy after which battle?
What did Percy say the drink tasted like?
That might be tough for the audience. Actually, that might be tough. That might be a question for the rest of the folks, because you have to give the audience a bigger question, not the immediate details, Krishna, but let any one of the other team members answer it. Anyone of you has got an answer? Aditya.
I think he said it tasted like an ice cream sundae.
Krisha?
Well, I thought he said it tasted like his mom's chocolate chip cookies.
Okay. So I can see Vivan and Manan both nodding. That means that's right? Okay. The audience question should be something like, I'm just give something that's a big book. Why do you think he stole the lightning? Or things like that, right? And who is Hades? Because the audience is not an expert, remember. Yeah, Manan, you have a question for the audience?
Yeah. Why did Ares trick Percy into getting the Thunderbolt?
Why did Ares trick Percy? Let me type it out for the audience. Why did Ares trick Percy to?
Get the Thunderbolt.
Thunderbolt or lightning?
Lightning bolt. I don't know.
Okay. Okay, I'll type that in. Next. So this is the question for the audience, correct? Okay. So whenever the audience replies back to it, we will put it back and put it here, okay? And then we will go and work. So now let's go ahead and start to, as we work through it, we'll wait for the audience replies. But I think it's time to slowly start doing the closing remarks. By the way, any other tough questions that you would like to ask, or anything that is there on the top of your head that you want to ask for the rest of the teams? Krisha, go ahead.
Who did Gabe Gabe's Percy's stepfather accused for him and his mom being missing? I mean, what did who did Gabe accuse for his mom being missing? Manan?
He blamed Percy
And why?
because he doesn't like him. Yes.
Yes.
Right, well. Aditya, you want to say something?
When he was getting when he was on the news, he was saying it was Percy was taking drugs and saying stuff like that.
Yeah. By the way, folks, remember, audience, all your comments are being seen by the panelists here. Just wanted to keep you posted there. So all the comments people are able to see here. So if you have any reaction or any chats that you're seeing, you can go ahead and state that. Okay. One other question, right, as we start to wrap this book chat around, right? First of all, did you start to appreciate Greek mythology better? Were you happy with it? Were you disappointed with it? Was it represented well? What are your thoughts? Okay, there is an answer that came in. I don't know where it's an answer, but this is the comment. It seems the question is too tough. We lost Kucha. I think she'll be back. Okay, so how do you think, given the thing that, did you get a little bit more interested into Greek mythology, a lot more? And how did, we have Krisha back, so let her add back to the stream. So we talked about why we like the book, right? So, and we also talked about the fact that, this whole story of Percy Jackson introduced us to the whole Greek mythology. So, Krisha, we were just talking about and saying that, how did it influence you from a perspective of Greek mythology? Did you get more interested? Did you try to find more people, more gods, what they meant?
I learned it's a part of history, and so it got really interesting because I barely knew half of the gods and stuff.
Okay. By the way, there's a question from the audience, so I want to show that, and you have to react to this. Panelists? Anyone has an answer to this question? Yeah, Vivan, go ahead.
I mean, there is the thing with the lightning bolt, with Zeus's lightning bolt from Greek mythology, and the Vajra from Hindu mythology.
Okay.
That's just,
yeah, there is a lightning god in even Hindu mythology, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, by the way, do you folks know that in the Hindu mythology, Indra is supposed to be the king of the gods, right? Right? And who is the king of the gods in Greek mythology?
Zeus.
And what is, go ahead, Vivan.
Zeus is as they said, the king of the gods in Greek mythology, and they're both gods of storms and lightning and stuff, and they both have lightning bolts.
Isn't it funny? How close the thought, is it a coincidence? But in both the things, it's the king of the gods has the lightning bolt as their weapon. It's very interesting, both Hindu mythology and Greek mythology, right? And first of all, in terms of Greek mythology, is it always about them fighting with each other, or is it just the story? What do you think? Go ahead.
I'm pretty sure, in Greek mythology, Zeus and Poseidon are always fighting with each other, in actual mythology.
And is there any other parallel that you can think of with Hindu mythology? Did you realize that for every single element, natural element out there there is a god in Hindu mythology. And for every single natural element out there, there is a god in Greek mythology. You don't find that anywhere else. Obviously, there are more, but the way I look at it is essentially you go ahead and start to look at, the god of fire, the god of this, the god of that, the god of oceans, the god of seas. By the way, so in Greek mythology, if you looked at it, right, Zeus, is it the fact that Zeus, Hades, and who was the third one, by the way?
Poseidon.
Yeah. Okay. So Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon, right? All three of them are supposed to be the big three. Did anyone, if you ever think this big three, why is it lightning, ocean, and hell? Go ahead, Aditya.
Because those are the three main things about Earth.
Okay. Manant, what is your thought?
It might have been the things that scared the most. Like the sea is pretty big, and thunder is deadly, and death is scary, I guess.
Vivan, just hold on for a moment. Manan, I want you to expand on the topic. So what you're essentially saying is, from a Greek perspective, the things that they felt was the most toughest ones to conquer had the most powerful gods, right?
Yeah.
Talk a little bit more. Just expand your thought.
Like when someone dies, they don't know what happens to them. Like they're just gone. So they made Hades be really creepy and king of the underworld and very powerful. And then the skies and the thunder, that when thunder strikes, it can be it's very loud, and if it does strike the ground, then it can be deadly. So that might be why. And it's also it can be frequent when thunderstorms come. So that might be why they made it him the king of the gods. And the sea was very big, and they weren't able to cross it because they didn't have boats, I don't think. And so they made him Poseidon, who is another very powerful god.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Makes sense. Vivan, you had some points.
So like Manan said, I think they chose the most powerful elements, I guess, and they and I don't know, I guess they ranked them kind of. So they chose Zeus as the king of the gods because he had sky and storms, because I think everybody thought of the sky as heaven and stuff. And also the sea was neutral, but also really powerful, and because no one had really ever left Greece and gone overseas to anywhere else, so they thought that was kind of cool. And so Poseidon was the second most powerful god, and then Hades, death, the underworld, underground, he was the least powerful, but he was also really powerful because, with all that.
Mm-hmm. Prisha, your thoughts?
The same thing as both of them said. The sky is really large, so they made Zeus those are the three most powerful elements, and they frequently happen and they're really large, I guess.
Okay.
Same thing.
Any other building points, Aditya, for you, or any other opinions?
No, they all said really all of them.
And so from your perspective, if I were to look at it, so even this whole idea of Zeus getting angry very fast is all about thunder and lightning, right? Right? And tell me, in terms of what, if I were to step back and look at it, first of all, we touched on a lot of topics, right? The first topic we thought is, we went ahead and imagined a world as we read through the book. And I think that gives us a good set of ideas to start looking at something that somebody has described, using our own understanding of what it is and imagining the world. Second is looking at the flow of the story, right? And there are multiple. See, if you look at the story, there are so many times it is exciting, right? It's mysterious. It's a cliffhanger. You get a next point and you start working it. So as you started to read the second book of Percy Jackson, right? How much of how much of the first book started to make you feel good about the second book? Because now each one of the characters was building up. You came to know more about the characters. You started to like certain characters. So as you continue to read the series, how did you feel? Go ahead, everyone.
It got more interesting, and I could also understand it a little better, because if I didn't understand it, then I could just actually look at the original Greek myths and see how it connects.
Perfect. Any other topics? Because before we close this session, by the way, it was a wonderful session. I really liked the quiz round. It was a nail biter. But I actually came to know a lot about some of the things that, personally, Percy Jackson and Greek mythology, as I read this book, right? I had read it a long time back. I had to refresh my memory, but it was a very interesting book. So any last comments? I want to close out. We've got a couple of minutes, 3-4 minutes left. Final comments. Did you enjoy it? Did you have fun talking to folks who also like this book? Any other last comments from any one of you? You didn't enjoy it? So anyway, thank you, folks. Thank you very much for joining the panel. Really like the fact that we could have an interactive discussion on a topic that you all like. Remember, you are the experts. And as you continue to go ahead and read, think about a little in terms of how am I imagining what the author is trying to say? How do these events, in the last discussion we used to have about Harry Potter, I talked about this concept of breadcrumbs, right? Throughout the book, there are certain things that the author drops, which all stitch together and make sense towards the end. Think about what are all these topics. But it was fun having you. Thank you on a Saturday morning. Really liked it. And thank you for your time. And Adi, I hope now that you've come back from your hike, you can now relax. Have fun, guys, and have a nice time. I'm going to be ending the broadcast now, and thank you very much. Thank you, audience. We all appreciate it.